How are you doing?
I'm good.
Nice.
Yes.
Busy days?
Yeah, it's always something going on here in Loshult.
So, this is the
Yes.
first video.
Yes. Exciting.
Yeah.
A new channel. Not used to looking into the camera yet, but we do it in a dialogue. So hopefully it will go smooth.
So, tell me about you.
Yeah. So first of all, maybe my name is Raphael. I'm born in Germany, 81. I'm 42 years old. I am born in a big family. We are 5 kids. We had a quite nice upbringing with a lot of creativity and music in our home. Both of the parents have been musicians. And it's had a nice childhood and a nice upbringing. Went to a Waldorf school, which also encouraged me to do things differently and explore talents a little bit more free than maybe the state system in the school. And I've been traveling around for many years and ended up in Loshult 13 years ago.
Of all places.
Of all places. Correct, yeah. It's not a straightforward line as it is always in life. It goes a little bit to the east and to the west. I've been starting 97 to work with IKEA as interior designer. After my school, did an apprenticeship there and worked as interior designer for IKEA for many, many years. And very soon started to travel a lot for IKEA. First still with the company itself, but later on I had my own company providing services and exploring new countries and lots of interesting places. Been traveling 6-7 years non-stop to explore, to help IKEA to grow, develop new IKEA stores, and also there learn and understand how different countries work and what needs and dreams they have, which was a fantastic time. And after that I ended up in little Loshult.
So what made you come here?
Yeah, what made me come here, it's definitely the countryside, which really gives me hope and fills me with energy. It's like a playground, an adult playground. As a child you're going to a traditional playground where you can play free and explore your world. But I felt when I arrived here to Loshult, I felt that Loshult is an adult version of a playground where you can make things happen, where I got a lot of support from the very first day in all the different dreams I wanted to realize. And it was a very nice click in the very first months, and it has been developing ever since. So yeah.
It's so nice because when you came here there was nothing of what is here now. It was a sleepy, maybe even too sleepy little village.
Yeah.
And you saw so many possibilities here.
Yeah, definitely. The village Loshult was, when I arrived, was very deserted. Many old people, almost all of them retired. Very few kids and very few young, fresh energy. And it showed for me only the potential, basically, of what is possible to do in a place like this. Since many houses have been standing empty, no energy, so to say, no fresh blood in this village. So I just decided for myself that this could be a really nice place to root and to build up something new, of course with support by many people, but I think I did a little bit an initial startup for this. I planted some seeds, and ever since I'm trying to get the right people here to Loshult as well, to see that this village of 90 inhabitants can actually grow in a good and in a healthy way and develop to something, really enjoyable for all of us.
What do you see for, like, how would you, what is your idea?
Yeah, you could say the vision of Loshult, which I had, was, of course, back in the day, it was that crowd of international people together with the locals ends up mixing in a nice way, that this tiny sleepy village becomes a little bit more like a hub for different thinkers, for people who would like to do things. So really just seeing and hearing Sally laughing. So when I first arrived here, it was a tiny sleepy village, and of course it needed some generation change, but it also needed some fresh energy and some activation of sort. I knew the soil was good and fertile, but of course you need to plant seeds and you need to grow things, and I wanted to really understand what the Swedish culture is all about. I started with folk dance, I started to do many different courses on handcraft, on bees, on how to take care of chickens and so on. And I started slowly to land in Sweden, because of course I'm not a Swede, I'm born and raised in Germany. Of course I've been traveling a lot, but that opened my eyes and that made me maybe see this potential here in this village, with a fantastic core, you can say, of a nice church, some really nice old buildings which just needed to be reactivated again. All the houses which we have now as a community here, they've been empty for many years. This Handelsboot where we are now has been empty for 25 years, not utilized. So it's nice to see the potential and understand what we as a group, and of course also myself with lots of different actions, what we can actually bring forwards.
Nice.
Yeah, so what role is Loshult playing? What role is mine? And the Handelsboot, of course, it's not that clear from the beginning, but it has been grown, of course. I had the opportunity to buy this wonderful house where we started our home bakery. When I bought it, I didn't even know Sally. I had this glorious idea of settling in the countryside. It was my mother who convinced me back in the day to actually make it happen. She always dreamt of having this kind of communal living with many creative people in the countryside. So it didn't take me long to actually buy in. But of course it was a huge enterprise. It was a huge step for me, from basically living in a suitcase for 6-7 years non-stop to actually owning a property, which I've never done before. But I was young, I was 30, and I felt like, okay, maybe this is the next step now, and I wanted to do a step. And I could buy this house, which exists of in total 3 houses. One house where I could move in, a little red house. The big house, which the old couple, which was 91 and 93 years old, they stayed there. They continued to live there for another year until they moved to their daughter, who was 73, who then took care of them until they passed.
Wow.
So it's a beautiful coexistence, and of course I had to get some help, because on my own to maintain those houses and the huge garden was a thing of impossibility. So I started with this concept of WOOFing. WOOFing stands for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms, and that gives me the possibility as a house owner to get some helpers who get accommodation and food, and in return they're supporting me with all kinds of farm work around, but also with renovation work and other things. in the garden. And that was a chance for me to stay connected, since I've been traveling a lot in the years before. I kind of formulated it for myself that it is the years of the passive traveling. So I had the chance to actually welcome people for the very first time since a long period. So I could invite them to actually stay with me, to do things together, to really embrace this new step. And that was, of course, a fantastic opportunity to have, to get the help, to kick off lots of projects, and to just see where it all enrolls. And then I met Sally in Thailand many years ago, 8.5 years by now. And I was backpacking. I had still some difficulties, which I still have today. Winters are grey, it's cold, it can be very miserable for many months. So for me it was a good chance during winter to actually earn some extra money by baking bread and selling some chopping boards. So I took always those chances during the winter to escape for a few weeks to go backpacking in Southeast Asia. And on one of those trips I met Sally, and I decided to invite her to follow me to Loshult. She was backpacking too. She visited her brother who lived in Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. And she did fly over just a month later with a one-way ticket from India, where she lived and had her home base during that time. And she came and she liked it and she decided to stay. Cool. And she discovered the sourdough which I had going on, by far not on that professional level as we do it here today, but at least I could plant a little seed in her, and she absolutely fell in love, and the rest is history. We started with a home bakery. It has been growing here to Loshult Handelsboot, our little bakery and cafe. And we are planning on the expansion. The role or the responsibility we have with a building Loshult Handelsboot is quite big. Loshult Handelsboot, first of all, to explain it for everyone, Handelsboot is the word exists of Handel, which is the trade, and then Atbo is to live. So it's a combination of a place where you trade things, but also where you live. That means back in the day, people lived here and they did trade. And that is, of course, in a way, like exactly that link which we wanted to do as well here in the village. The village supermarket, as you want to call it, Handelsboot, is probably from 1850. No documentation is really exact or clear. So the building has some history and has always been an open building for the community. People have been shopping here, all their groceries, bread back in the day, coffee, cat food, you name it. It was an important meeting spot. And back in the day, in the late 90s, the actual Handelsboot closed down. And it was empty for some years. Then it was a Lopez with people who sold second-hand things, but they became old and they took more than they sold. So it became a classical hoarder house. And we can show some images how it looked like. People did wear masks to go in here. It was a pretty horrendous smell and not so inviting maybe as it is here now. The role as of today as Loshult Handelsboot is kind of a hub, I would describe it, for all the different things which are happening here in Loshult. It is of course a commercial part, because we are selling here the bread and pastries, coffee, but it also became a little bit more of the things which are growing around in a circle. It is small concerts which are happening here. We have the bakery cottage, like a small Airbnb place next door. We are selling local groceries. food. We have different people who grow flowers and plants, which we are selling further. So it became, for the people around here, it became some sort of a magnet for a good quality product, which is in some way handmade. If it is now a sourdough bread, or if it is a handmade bouquet, most of them ecologically grown närodlat, as you say in Swedish. It's locally grown and hand binded bouquets, or other things which can be sold here, which finds their beloved person who actually really appreciates this. So that's a really positive thing, that we have a huge amount of customers by now, which really appreciates the values we have and understands what we are standing for. So the expectations towards our place are right. And then I see it a little bit as our task, as my task, to create those different products, make it a harmonic experience and expression, that we can honestly share the goods which come here from the neighbors around, but also a little bit further away.
So what are the values?
The values are, almost all of them are handcraft. I really appreciate that someone puts in effort and Fingerspitzengefühl, a sensibility for good taste, if it is a taste in terms of the taste buds, or just visually, aesthetically a taste. So those values are super important in order to create a Gesamtkonzept, a framework which gives me the opportunity here to share a fantastic produce with the many people who are ending up in Loshult.
Nice.
Yeah, another very important aspect is obviously also the complete social aspect of a public place, which we have here with Loshult Handelsboot. That there is a huge chance for people who are maybe ending up for the first time in the Swedish countryside here in the area, that they can meet other people, they can come together. The playground is full of kids, you're playing together, even if you're coming on your own. We have long tables, you will share the table with other people, you can start a dialogue. So the social aspect for sure is big coming here, but it is also a nice opportunity which we try to give to people when they're ending up here in the countryside, to give them a chance to actually either start up their own business, that we can feature a product, or even that we say, okay, we can give you an employment for a certain period of time, or we maybe even employ you permanently, in order to give you a chance to grow, to develop your own dreams, and also make it quite hands-on practical support. That it's not only the vision, which of course maybe many places have, but we can also of course support with an actual, you have a contract, you get some money. This is important if you want to start your own things, that we can give some advice and a bit of navigation help. And of course, in the end, we also share the customers. And all together really connects and sits tight and really makes sense.
Super cool, nice.
Yeah, it's of course fantastic to have a vision and to know what did bring us here, but we have of course lots of different things on our plate on day-to-day basis. We are in a very exciting phase. The summers are always extremely busy. I usually compare it with a beehive, that there's hundreds of workers moving around, everyone is flying out to different spots to pick pollen and produce some nice and juicy honey. It feels exactly the same here in Loshult during the summers, that there's a lot of activity, a lot of actions. So it is not that much this kind of sleepy village, but everyone is busy and doing their small part in producing a big picture. For myself, I had just now this weekend a big wedding which we have organized. It has been a fantastic job, 1.5 year planning period, which I did outside of the usual catering business, but I've been only in charge of the flow and the different arrangements, when comes what, the decoration, the location as such. So it was a bit a different situation for me, so I was more the host than serving the food. But it was very enjoyable, and I really appreciate the trust I also get by now from people. Other things which are on my plate right now is one big project which is part of this growing vision, which slowly becomes more and more reality here as we speak. It is a location which I could buy together with an investor, Richard, and which gives us the possibility now to actually leverage up everything on a 2.0 level. So you could say Loshult Handelsboot was a 1.0, a starting playground of seeing how we can combine things with different perspectives, with different products, with different, it was a playground for us to explore what is possible. And now with all these learnings we have collected from 5 years that we are now in business here already with Loshult Handelsboot, has shown us what limitations we have here, what limitations we have when it comes to a volume, but many other aspects which are limited in an old house, very small square meters, and of course also the fact that we are very in a tiny village here. We have a public bus who comes 5 times a day, and that of course is a challenge for the many people, if you want so, to come here. And this new location called Goodsmagasinet, so the warehouse you could call it, is a wonderful old building built 1863, so it has a similar age as this house we're in. But this gives us the opportunity to have 600 square meters and also a location which is super central, directly opposite of the train station. And of course, saying that, and Loshult Handelsboot 2.0, that means that we are exploring at the moment. We are very curious to see. We haven't landed with exactly what it is, but it is some sort, in Swedish you say saluhall, like a market hall, a place where we can combine different things under one roof. So under one roof you will find a coffee shop, maybe a coffee roaster, you will find a bakery, you will find a lunch restaurant, you will find your local groceries, you will find flowers, you will have a space which is can be utilized for concerts, for art exhibitions. So we have basically a playground on 600 square meters downtown in this tiny little village of Älmhult, which has 18,000 inhabitants and is also the home of IKEA, which of course gives us an international public, much more traffic than we have it here. So expectations of course are high, but it's also now again kind of building up the right expectations, see what it is people are expecting us to deliver and what we can feed in. So It will be a nice project for the next years, I'm saying, because we will probably do it in certain intervals, that we first have the first 100 square meters ready, then we're doing the second step, so it won't be ready in one go. But it's an exciting project, and I'm super happy that we got this opportunity to first of all buy it, but also to have an investor who actually backs us financially a little bit in order to pull this through, because this is not the easiest task. Yeah, and it's not all what is on my plate right now, of course. Yes, it is Loshult Handelsboot. It's a summer which is just knocking on the door. We have a lot of things to plan. It is the Gutsmagasinet, a new building which we are starting to renovate soon, where we need to get lots of important steps taken, tick them off. But it is also a wonderful, wonderful dream of mine, which I can say is becoming reality now. It is a fantastic opportunity to actually host a little festival here in this tiny village of Loshult. And it's not just like not just a festival, but it's actually an artist in residence, which is with a Danish band called Efterklang. And I've been a fan of this band for many, many years, and have visited their Sommertreff, which is like a summer meetup. I visited that for the last 2 years in summer. And it's a fantastic opportunity for Efterklang to come together, to compose new songs, to play old tracks, to just have the freedom of being on the countryside, performing, and have one concert public in the end of that week for, I would say, for fans. And I've been extremely enjoying those happenings, because it is a lot of those values which I also stand for are really lifted during that week and also during that festival day. It is always some cultural parts, it's the music, it is really good food, it's happening around midsummer, the summer solstice, when it is lush out in nature, when you go for a walk. So the previous 2 years it was on a Danish island called Møn, and it was combined with a big walk through the fields. There's a church from 1600 which has super beautiful painted interior, and there has been concerts inside the church, mainly acoustic. And it was always a really nice experience to discover a completely foreign place to me, with completely fresh eyes, have it grounded and have it nicely painted, so to say, with music, food, art, and of course fantastic people. So that is what Efterklang is extremely good in, to bring these things together. And yeah, by chance they had the opportunity to change the location, and they've been looking for a bigger spot to do their Efterklang Sommertreff, and I've been lucky that they have selected Loshult as a location. And it is happening already in a week, starting with the artists in residency, where in total 20 musicians from the whole world will fly in and stay here at different houses, all of them at friends. No one stays in a hotel, so everyone can actually literally arrive in Loshult, be with someone local. We provide during the whole week breakfast, lunch and dinner, and really create what we in German would describe as a rundum sorglos Paket. A package which really gives them the comfort of a home away from a home. Why do we do YouTube now? It's a lot happening here in this village. It has been growing constantly over the years, and there's so many exciting projects which I do know that I myself really enjoy that content. Of course, some of it is produced on a different level, and we will need to see how good we actually can perform. But we just thought it would be nice to utilize YouTube as a channel to have different formats and to also showcase the projects which the different people here in Loshult have, what they drive, what their vision is, and how they make the Swedish countryside life to their dream. It is, for many people who come here for the first time, it's like a microcosmos. It's like the beehive again. It's so many things happening. It's like an own network of things happening. Of course, a lot is connected in some way, but it is something which we just thought could be interesting for more people to share. What is our recipe, if there is a recipe? Whom are we? Whom is behind the scenes? It is of course often Sally and me who are the faces, so to say, for Loshult Handelsboot. But there's a lot of other people which we want to portray in the series and follow their projects and their dreams in the different steps and iterations, to just share what we are doing. And probably we will grow with the way of cutting and editing and doing all this. But we thought it could be nice to start with smaller portraits and then later on follow the different projects a little bit more in detail, but maybe also a bit more general, in order to share what we are burning for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Super nice to hear. Yes.
Nice.
Thank you, Raphael.